Hi Aquarius, I hope that everything is going well with you. We are here with a timeless reading. Timeless as far as I'm aware. If I see something time intensive, I will let you know. Time sensitive. Okay, I'm looking at the Emperor and I'm looking at Ten of Swords. King of Pentacles is on the bottom of the deck. This feels like immediately going to be connected with things that have to do with your livelihood, self-responsibility, responsibility that you have for the things that you have to take care of. When we start in the position of the Emperor, it shows a need for self-management. It shows that if you are embodying the archetype of the Emperor, that is going to be most helpful for you. So it can mean sometimes needing to make a tough call, sometimes having to make the more difficult decision because you're going to be better off later for that. There can be self-discipline here. There can be themes having to do with motivation. What's motivating you? How to stay motivated? Are your goals worth it to you? It also has to do with what you currently have going on, what you're building within your life, also what you're standing on. As when we have the Emperor, it shows that we're already standing on something that we've been building and we intend to build more, to do more, and we're trying to figure out where this next piece goes and how to do that. Now, I'm also looking at the Ten of Swords, which can be feeling like maybe you're going through a really tough time mentally. Maybe something is going on and it's giving you a bit of a run for your money right now, especially when we have King of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. I can feel like you're going through it a bit here. Let's get context. What's this Ten of Swords about? The beauty of the Ten of Swords is that because it's a 10, it does indicate that a situation is closing out. So rather than this be like an open Three of Swords, like something that's wounding you and it's not resolved yet, a 10 does indicate it being resolved, but it does mean too that you can still be dealing with the fact that it happened, like dealing with the aftermath essentially. And this is going to feel like a substantial part of your life, having the Emperor here. I'm seeing the Hermit come out. I feel like you can relax now. We have Hermit and we have Ten of Cups, which... Okay. What I'm seeing going on here is that there is thought being put into what you're feeling, trying to make sense of things, trying to find answers. If I'm having these feelings come up, what do they mean? What is that connected with? What is the message? I feel like as it relates to your happiness in life, even what you want to be doing, exploring, what you feel ready for. I think also from just a psychological standpoint too. So we have Aries and we have Aquarius. Okay. Me coming from a detached place emotionally, especially because like I'm not seeing any cups here, so I can't really speak to that yet because cups are not here. So just know that if you feel like there's something missing emotionally from this, from like your emotional narrative, I'm acknowledging that. So I'm not saying that this is the whole story that's happening. This is more so just like what I'm seeing right now, like the most pertinent stuff, the stuff related specifically to what's coming out here. When we have the Emperor, this is going to be stepping into a mode of operation where we have to think about the things that we want within our lives, because if we're not responsible for that, your life is going to go all over the place and you're going to look at it and say, this isn't what I wanted, and it's going to be on you. So the beauty of the Emperor is about being in a position where you're actually in charge of what's going on, what's going where, how things are being built, what material you're using energetically within your life. This Ten of Swords is feeling like something has happened, something is concluding, and I'm seeing this be something that it's not meant to be part of your storyline anymore. That doesn't mean that it's not it can be still feeling painful to have to come to terms with that when these things happen. So Ten of Swords says, hey, you need to get your head in the game. We don't need your mind to be in this, involved in this anymore. Something that was taking up space for you because you were working something out, now that situation is concluded. It's like something that's incomplete, that's been on your mind all day, and it's distracting you from what's going on presently. The situation closes out, so you can't spend time. It's like it closes out to liberate you from having to give that your energy anymore. That can still be difficult when there's attachment that we feel to something. So even though I'm seeing it's in alignment with the bigger picture of your journey for you not to be having your energy involved in this anymore, that doesn't mean that it's not difficult to adjust to that being the case. So you can be sitting there feeling like this is really difficult right now. I'm dealing with the aftermath of this. Simultaneously, this is actually supportive of the bigger picture of your journey here. When we have Five of Wands, this feels like something that had been needing to be worked out, or something that had been getting in the way of you working something out, that's related to your path, that's related to your journey, that's related to you being present to your journey, you being present to your purpose, you being present to that. So even though with Ten of Swords you can be like, I wasn't ready to let that go yet, or I didn't want to give that up yet, or I wasn't finished with that. This is happening so that you can be freed up, so that you can address something, so that you can work something out that needs to be worked out now. It's time for this to be happening, and it's associated with your dreams, your goals, your hopes, your visions, your purpose. Okay. Now we have the King of Cups coming out, which does give context to the experience emotionally. When we have King of Cups and we have Ten of Wands, it can feel like it's absolutely most important for you to be grounding and for you to center your energy while you're going through a time where it's difficult to do exactly that, yet it is absolutely necessary to be doing exactly that. And you can also feel like there is so much going on and there is so much resting on my shoulders, and I'm really feeling the crushing weight of that. This is ultimately going to be a uniting of your heart and your mind here. You're not, okay, I'm seeing that you're not seeing something yet, but it's not because it's not available. It's more so because you're still processing a conclusion here. And because you're processing a conclusion, it's like, It's like the universe comes through and something happens and you cannot be happy that that happened. You can actually feel the opposite of that about it happening. You can have lots of feelings about this and that you didn't want it to be like that and it wasn't supposed to, and why is this happening to you, or why is this happening now, depending on just how you're looking at it. But what you don't see is that this is actually, something is getting cleared out. That's what I'm seeing. Because it was something that was blocking you from your path. So there can be a part of you that was like, I wanted this to be part of my path, but your ego wanted it to be part of your path. I don't think that it actually was. I feel like that's a really bold statement. However, from what I'm seeing, this feels like one of those times when it feels really difficult now, and then you get later down the timeline and you're like, that had to happen. Like, you know that it did. And so as much as it can feel a little bit harsh to the ego to hear that, also allow yourself to be comforted by the knowledge that you're going to get later down the timeline and you're going to see that this was something that you're just going to know that it had to happen like this. It was absolutely necessary, and it was something that would have blocked you from what you're meant to be doing, from what you're supposed to be doing. And you'll know that because you will feel that within your soul. You don't need to agree with me. You will feel this later down the timeline if you're not feeling it now. Some of you can go through this and you can center yourself. You can feel like you get off center depending on the experience. Then you come back into a place of being centered. It's about getting back into the centered space. And you can know that as much as this can be difficult for you, it had to be this way. So some of you can be feeling that already right now. Some of you may not be feeling that. You may be telling yourself the opposite of that. It's definitely like a narrative of the ego. That doesn't make it bad. It just makes it different from what your higher self is going to be communicating with you about your path, about your journey, about the soul feel of what it is that you're doing, where things are going. Feel like there's been a lot of heavily pursuing your path. You can feel like you need to rest a little bit. Having this Five of Wands and having Two of Swords below it, it feels like something that's in the process of being worked out, but it's not worked out yet. And so there's still double vision there. There's still something that you're not totally seeing yet. When we have conflict, it means that something is going to have to change. But there can be stuff that hasn't totally come into play yet, or stuff that you're not, it's not totally seen yet. And there can be stuff that's just like getting in the way of the truth a little bit here. Or it can be like a decision that we can feel we're not totally ready to make yet, and because of that, like, the tension is there but the change hasn't happened, and so you can just be sitting with that, and that can feel very uncomfortable. It's like knowing that something needs to be done but action hasn't been taken, and so you're still in that position of, I know a choice needs to be made but I didn't do anything about it yet, so I'm just sitting in that place where it's that feeling. This Knight of Cups gives the sentiment of there is a move that you're gonna like get up and you're gonna make that move, but you can be feeling like you're not ready to do that yet because you're still trying to ground, you're still trying to center after going through something that is feeling really challenging and difficult. and you're still processing that. You're still recovering from the aftermath. And you can be knowing that, like, okay, this is part of the path. I know that I'm on my path right now. I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be, but this is so difficult right now, or there's just so much going on, or there's so much to do, or this is really stressing me out, or I feel alone right now. It can be a whole thing that's being experienced. Like, you're just going through something really heavy right now. And yes, this is part of it. And yes, you can also feel like you're a little bit at your limit here. Like, this is something that you can feel like this pushed me really far and I'm having a hard time finding equilibrium now. And that's why it's necessary for you to do that before you go on and do anything else. And part of being the emperor within your life, like being that, the emperor is you being like the head of everything. Like, you are the person within your life that, like, you go to the person that is the emperor, and that's also an embodiment of you. Like, you embody that energy. So it's kind of like you're at a point in your life where you're trying to figure something out, and so you have to channel the energy of the emperor to figure that thing out. Is this a good move, or is that a better move? What do I do here? And then you have to, like, confer with the emperor and say what the emperor is going to say. So you have to, like, channel, you have to tune into that part of you. The emperor is connected with Aries. Think about Aries as Aries in a chart. Aries is the ruler. Before we get into people having different ascendants and all of that, like, Aries rules the first house. The first house is the house of self. And what's connected with that house is, like, you when you're being yourself, you within your authenticity, being strong within, like, the things that you feel and what resonates with you, and you knowing yourself. So you have to check in with that part of yourself. That is what the emperor is. And the emperor is the part of you that's like, I don't care, this can be, if it's difficult, it just has to be difficult, this is the right thing for me. It's that part of you where there is this sense of, like, this is what I stand by, and this is what I believe in, and this is me. It's like all of those things, all of the facets of, like, your personality and your beliefs and what resonates with you, and you as an individual within that. And so when stuff is going on within your life, important, big stuff that the emperor is involved in, you have to confer with that part of yourself. Hey, what do you want on an individual level? What's good for you? What are you thinking here? What are your preferences? And so everything that has to do with you as an individual, you have to connect with that part of yourself and confer with it and say, like, where do you want this piece to go here? And then you talk to that part of yourself, you confer with that part of yourself, and then you put that where it's supposed to go. Right now, that part of yourself is the part of you that something has to, because the emperor is the amalgamation of all the different kings. It's the king of swords, the king of wands, the king of pentacles, and the king of cups. Right now, you are in, like, 1/4 of the energy. You're connecting with the king of cups over here. Your job right now is to ground your energy and center your energy. You can feel like your life is very chaotic right now, or something within your life is feeling very challenging. There's something that you're going through right now. The first thing that needs to be done, having King of Cups right below Emperor, is I need to handle my business. I need to ground. I need to center. Because if I'm all over the place, I'm not going to be able to hear the direction that the emperor gives me, and I'm not going to be putting things where they're supposed to go. It's like when your nervous system is dysregulated, your ability to listen and to tune in, you can only hold so much information. The more centered and calm you are, the more you'll be able to retain. This feels like needing to get to that space so you can really tune into that part of yourself and say, like, what do we need to do here? And then it's going to give you that information. But if you're splashing around in the water, you're not going to be able to hear anything, because it's like that's what's taking up noise in your head. And once you connect with that part of yourself, because the part of you that is the Emperor energy, that's the part of you that like you'll take on whatever because that's what you're doing. It's just, that's like it. I accept that it's like that, and I'm gonna do what I have to do here. And it's the part of you that knows that there's nothing that's gonna be thrown at you that you can't handle. You can handle all of it. There's nothing that's going to be put in front of you that you're not going to be able to work through. That is the energy of Aries. It's about figuring it out, because there's always a way to figure it out. There's always going to be a way. If this is part of your path, there's always a way to figure it out. And so it's about tuning into the wisdom of that part of yourself that's able to ground your energy, that's able to have the experience that you're having, and rather than be reactive, being able to tune in and center and know what the wise next move is to make here. When we have Ten of Swords, it shows that you can feel like you've been brought to like the depths of something for you on your mind mentally that can feel like it's sort of like really drained your faculties a bit. And then also having the Ten of Wands here too, this can be something that feels energetically draining. Ten of Swords can feel mentally draining, but it's a 10, so now you're being released from that. And then Ten of Wands is another 10, which shows another closing out of something that's been really draining for your energy. Mentally exhausting, energetically draining. So something is concluding. So you're at the, like, something is closing out. It feels like it is closed already, and you're about to break into an ace, which is going to be like the revival of the energy. Having this Five of Wands, it shows that there's something that's being worked out and a change that's going to be made by you. You're going to be doing something. You're going to be putting something into motion. Two of Swords can indicate you didn't do that yet. And usually we don't do something yet because we haven't admitted to ourselves what the truth is yet. There's kind of a little bit of a, like, you think that you still have multiple options when there's really only one viable option here, and that's why you didn't take action on it yet. So I see it as being related to that. So you can be in that position where you still think you can think that there are more options than there actually are with the Two of Swords, just because something is getting in the way of you seeing the full truth and how there's really only one way to go here. That will be the point when you get to the Ace of Swords and you feel like, man, I'm having this breakthrough now. I can see things clearly. What is getting in the way right now of you seeing things clearly is this Ten of Swords. So this means this thing that you are going through that has really taken a lot out of you, mental faculties, really taken a lot out of you. That's the thing that's not allowing you to truly see this yet. Meaning, because your energy hasn't been brought yet into the cycle of an ace yet, where there is that sort of fresh perspective, you're still dragging behind like all of the other steps of that last cycle, and so you're not seeing presently clearly because of that, because you're still basically filtering that out. It's like you go through something where you've been like chained or something like that, and you've been going through it, and you haven't realized that like the cuff came off of you and you can like get up and go to the next cycle. So you're just sort of still sitting there. That's how I'm seeing the energy be. And you can feel stressed out because you're still sitting there, but you don't need to still be sitting there anymore. You can pop back up now. But I kind of get this feeling of like, maybe you feel like I can't get up, like I feel so drained right now, I just need a minute. Maybe you just need this time to recover. That's fine. Whatever you want to do is fine. There's not a wrong way to do this. It's your story. It's your journey. I feel too like with this Five of Wands, it's something that you're going to have to put in motion here. What also you're not seeing yet is Ten of Swords. When we go through something that feels painful to us, it can have this impact where sometimes we can sort of become smaller because of it. And then when we have a choice that needs to be made, we can have that remembering of that thing that happened and then wanting to make ourselves very small, and we feel like, because that thing happened and it happened in a way that was painful, I want to make choices where there's like not that risk of that happening, even though like, is pain avoidable? I guess it depends on your mindset, but for the most part, when you're playing a game like this, things happen. And so what can be going on right now within the energy is that, like, what you can be seeing is the Ten of Swords, which is things closing out, pain, I'm not ready to let that go yet, the unshed skin. When what we need to be looking at is the star, which is that hope, which is the journey, which is your path, which is like your North Star and what you're following and what this is for. And to make a choice in that direction of the vision, of the dream. And this isn't a type of optimism that's unrealistic. This is just infused with a type of cosmic magic that you know is all around you. And knowing that that's just as much part of your storyline as is the other things that are going on. But you can feel like you're in an in-between, and this was why things haven't been being done, is because you can be like carrying the past with you. You haven't shed it, and thinking that what's stopping you from making a choice is that I feel like you have a choice that can be an inspired one that comes from a place of hope and you believing in yourself and believing in your path and your journey and your dreams and what you want to do here. Or the other option is making a choice out of fear, out of avoidance, resistance. And so until you get to the point where you realize there's only one real option for you, you're still going back and forth between that station. Do I want to make the choice based off of avoidance of pain, avoidance of things closing out, resistance to change, which when you're here in 3D, things are going to be changing all the time. Like, nothing is going to be forever when we talk about like material things and instances, situations. And so it feels like getting to a place where there is a, that also I want to say, like, this doesn't minimize the experience that you had. You go through things that feel painful, you go through things that feel stressful. This doesn't mean like, just be hopeful that like these things aren't that big of a deal. It is a big deal when we go through it. It can feel excruciating when we go through those things. How do we pick ourselves back up and still make the hopeful choice, or believe in ourselves, or choose the path of healing? How do we still do that? How do we still like remain hopeful about our future when we go through some really deep emotional turmoil, and see that we don't have to keep making choices from a place of resistance? We don't have to keep making choices from a place of running away, from trying to avoid pain, from trying to avoid change, from trying to avoid endings, from trying to avoid surrendering and letting go. And when you get to a place where you actually have cultivated that center within you, where you've transmuted this energy of the Ten of Swords, you will see that it doesn't have that control over you. You are the one that's in control. And you get to make this choice. You get to make this decision for yourself and for your future. And things really can look the way that you want them to. And things really can feel aligned. And that, I think, is where this is coming to a point of contention for you, where you can feel like there's a challenge. Am I going to be doing the difficult thing right now and be brave right now and follow my path right now and believe in myself and follow my dreams? Or am I going to like hide? Am I going to run away? Am I going to try to avoid? Am I going to give up? What am I going to do here? Because it feels like it's very much in your hands where you place this next piece. And that is your choice what you do here. And I think before you go and do anything, you want to make sure that you feel like you're centered mentally and also centered in your heart space, and to do it from there, rather than making a choice from a different place, and then that's going to put you on a different path, and one that you may not actually want to be on. To make the choice from your future, and to do it from your heart, and to tune into what that's telling you. I do get the sense that it can feel difficult when we have to tune into the heart. It means tune into the things that are going on there. And when we're going through something painful, we can want to be any place other than that. So it can be difficult not to want to bypass, because your ego is like, let's get out of here. Let's not have to do this. But when you have to make a choice that is a heart-led choice, you have to touch base with what that is. But that means also too having to face the pain that's there as well. And that can be something where you feel like this is part of the journey too. It's like, this isn't just when you're following your path, it's not just this glamorous thing of like, it's struggle sometimes, it's stress sometimes. Sometimes you feel like, I don't know if I can go on anymore. This feels like that, like the unglamorous side of things that you move through, but the very much important side of things. Because this is where the evolving happens and the transformation happens. So as much as it can feel difficult to stay present to your journey right now and not turn away or not shut it off, it's ultimately your choice at the end of the day what you want to do with this. Also too, something that has been on my sort of like in my awareness lately a lot is that when we have energies come up, like we have the King of Swords here and we have the King of Cups here, you see this as a connection between the mind and the heart. And sometimes when we haven't purified the energy yet, you can think that your head is telling you one thing and your heart is telling you another thing, but that's never the case. When you purify these energies enough, they always tell you the same thing. They never actually conflict with one another. But it can be fear that tells you otherwise. It can be all of those things that are related to that can tell you otherwise. It's just stuff that is not the truth, stuff that gets in the way of you seeing the truth that tells you otherwise. So you can say, my head's telling me this and my heart's telling me this, but you just haven't purified the energy enough, because they will always be on the same page. Always. So if you are feeling, which 5 of Wands, 2 of Swords, you can be feeling like that. I'm getting these 2 different messages. You haven't linked them yet. You haven't purified the energy enough yet. So that can mean like residue is getting in the way of this. You have to cleanse the energy in any way that you're going to. You can look up practices about this. How to clear your mind, how to clear confusion from your mind, anything that is not the truth. But sometimes it can be difficult to look at that. And that's where the resistance comes from. But the truth is always within you, because that is your natural state, that pure essence, the pure energy. So anything that is taking you away, anything that's distorting you from your natural state, that will be the stuff that fogs your vision and leaves you feeling like there are more options than there actually are, when there's only one way. There's only one right way for you. And when you get the energy purified of the King of Swords and the King of Cups, or the mind and the heart, they will tell you the same thing, and you'll know in that moment where you can hear them, because the energy is purified, they're telling you the same thing. The path that was once 2 becomes 1. And that's what is happening here. The purest essences of your energies, because everything is all one, the splitting is just an illusion. So when you think that the narrative is coming from a place that's different, it's because the energy just isn't purified yet. It's the same concept as how if you're doing what's in alignment with you and the highest good for you, it will also be the highest good for everybody else around you. It can never be other than that. It will always be like that. All right, my friends, we're going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.